Hey everyone, this is Karen Waksman, founder of Retail MBA. Today we'll be talking about Good Neighbor Pharmacy. So if you have a great consumer product that you think should be sold at Good Neighbor Pharmacy, this little training will give you some things to think about in regards to selling to them. With that said, let's get started on today's training. Let's talk about Good Neighbor Pharmacy. It is a retailer that not a lot of people know about. It's definitely a regional chain, and it is someone who has a personal healthcare product or someone who has products that are localized for health or being or beauty. Good Neighbor Pharmacy would be a great retailer to focus on. Some of the reasons why I do these videos is just to remind you about retailers you might not ever think about. In regards to Good Neighbor Pharmacy, they basically are a little bit smaller. They're similar to CVS or Rite Aid, and really it's the same type of product. So if you have a great product that's a supplement, perfect retailer to consider. Again, some electronics, health brands, and so forth. Our clients have made many millions of dollars selling to pharmacies, so it's something to consider. So if I was to focus on Good Neighbor Pharmacy, the first thing I'd note is whether or not my product makes sense for them. So I would go on their website, I go into their stores, I take a look around and make sure that what I'm selling makes sense for them. Because sometimes people are just throwing stuff and hoping that retailer will buy. But you can't really do that with these regionals and so forth. They want to make sure that you've actually taken a look at their stores, because a lot of times they'll ask you, who have you sold to? When have you seen our stores? They're going to ask you specific questions. So don't just reach out to Good Neighbor Pharmacy because it says pharmacy on it. Make sure that they're selling products similar to yours in their stores, because that will be the difference between you getting an order or not, and it makes you look professional. Again, sometimes people just want to sell products to anybody, and because it says pharmacy, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're buying products exactly like yours. So do your due diligence, please, because I've actually gone into buyer meetings where literally they're like, which store did you go to, when, what time, and what did you see, and what was missing from my assortment? So they'll literally tell me, I want to know, what was I missing? And I have to come up with these answers. So I can't just pretend that I went to their stores. It's actually all retailer buyers get very frustrated when you try to reach out to them and you didn't do your due diligence. The other thing about pharmacies is that they don't have a lot of shelf space for a lot of things. So if you have big, bulky packaging, it's probably not the best place to go, because again, they put a lot of different stuff in the store, and sometimes people have these big, large things trying to sell to these pharmacies and they just can't fit it. And also they may sell other types of products. Like if you go to CVS, they sell animal type of products, right, for food and different things for animals. But you'll notice it's a very small shelf space for it, and they squeeze a lot of stuff in there. So just be aware that whatever, you have to come in strong, and also you have to make sure that it will fit on their shelf space. That is actually a big thing. Another thing to consider about in regards to Good Neighbor Pharmacy is that a lot of your competitors are probably not thinking about them because they're focused on the CVSs and the Rite Aids of the world, which can be great for you. Definitely, usually what I teach people to do is to go away from your competition, find other retailers who could buy your product, and then consider going back to CVS and Rite Aid and all the other ones once you get those orders, because it shows proof that people like your product. And the final thing to consider in regards to Good Neighbor Pharmacy is that your pricing needs to be aligned very closely to what they already have in stores. This is something that a lot of people don't think about. If you go to that store and that product similar to yours are say $19.97, you need to be right around there. They don't play around with their pricing as much as say other retailers. The reason I say this, say you have a supplement product, this is really important. The supplement probably is great, and it probably is doing well online or whatever it is if you're trying to go after stores. But what if you're selling a 50-ounce package online and is doing really well, but they at Good Neighbor Pharmacy is selling the same product with a much cheaper and a lot less quantity in it? That's actually something to consider. You might have to actually sell them a product with the same ounce size or whatever. The reason I say this is because what happens with these pharmacies is because they have limited space, they're telling you how many tablets you need to have or whatever in that containment unit already in stores, and you need to have the pricing associated with it. So say your price is way off, maybe your packaging and the quantity of products within your product in your packaging is the problem. So maybe if you create new packaging and new product and a lot less of a size for that pharmacy, they might actually be able to buy it from you. The reason I say this is when it comes to supplements, one of the things that you have to think about is if they are selling a product that has 100 tablets in it, but you sell one that's 500 tablets, but their pricing is different than yours. And essentially, you might need to create packaging for the 100 tablets, is what I'm saying, to be able to get a buyer to pay attention to you, because they essentially have done a lot of research and figured out that this type of product probably fits the best. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. They might want to go for a bigger packaging with a lot more product. If you have really great pricing, there's obviously exceptions. But I hope you get my point. My point is that don't assume that because your pricing is crazy different than in stores, that the actual quantity and volume the client is receiving is equivalent to what you're selling online. Do your due diligence and understand that, and maybe you might actually get a change to order, and do that for other stores. Don't just change your packaging just because of one retailer. You definitely want to see if across the board they're selling quantities of your product in a certain way, especially for stuff like supplements and so forth. Same thing for hair products or whatever, the ounces count, these types of things can make the difference between you getting a chance to order or not. Anyways, I hope that provided value for you. If you want to learn how to approach, pitch, and sell to chain stores, like Good Neighbor Pharmacy, to our free webinar listed below. Check out what we do. We do events. We have services where we reach out to chain stores on your behalf, and or we have do-it-yourself programs if you want to learn the nuances of developing your product and preparing it for stores and then actually reaching out to stores. We've had so many successes over the years. Thanks again. Subscribe. Keep in touch. Thank you.